Let's start again. For shoulder surfing, this occurs when someone physically observes another person's screen, keyboard, or device to at least steal the confidential or sensitive information. Now, it is especially common in crowded areas, okay, such as the ATMs for airports or busy offices, okay, where at least people uh, may not notice that they are being watched. Okay, attackers typically use this technique to steal password pins or credit card details, which then which can then be exploited for financial gain or unauthorized access. Preventive measures will include privacy screens, okay, shielding keyboards, okay, when you are typing sensitive information or you are keying your uh, pins or passwords, and being aware of your surroundings. So, yeah, here are the popular examples of eavesdropping and some of the popular recommended solutions. Okay, especially for the phones, we have already yung super black yata na what do you call that one? The privacy screens. Okay, the using virtual keyboards or by using of virtual keyboards or biometric authentication. Uh, for using of virtual keyboards, please, if possible, refrain it and you may just use the biometric authentication. Okay. Then positioning screens away from public view if you are, especially if you're keying your pins or passwords. Now, we have here your supply chain attacks. These attacks exploit vulnerabilities in third-party vendors or service providers to compromise an organization, even if the organization's own systems are secure. One common type is a software supply chain attacks, where attackers inject malware into software updates or libraries that organizations will rely on. Another type involves hardware backdoors, okay, where compromised hardware components can contain hidden malicious functionality, okay, which can be exploited after installation. Finally, a third-party data breaches. Uh, it occurs when vendors or partners handling sensitive information suffer a breach, which can then impact the organizations they serve. So, software supply chain attacks. Okay. Now, these attacks target third-party software vendors, at least to compromise software updates or code repositories. Once a successful attackers can spread malware to multiple users through trusted sources, which makes the attack very effective and far-reaching. Now, what makes these attacks particularly dangerous? Um, that is, they are hard to detect because the malicious code comes from legitimate, trusted software providers. Now, to defend against this, the organization should implement code signing, verify software integrity, and monitor for unusual behavior. Here are some of the popular examples of a software supply chain attacks that happened. Okay. We have here popular or recommended solutions. Now, hardware backdoor characteristics. Okay? Hardware backdoors are hidden, unauthorized access points built into hardware components. This can be inserted during manufacturing or firmware updates. These backdoors can be inserted during in backdoor or during firmware updates, okay, as it is which makes them very difficult to be detected, okay, and once in place, they will or they allow attackers to bypass normal security controls and potentially it will steal sensitive data or compromise systems. Preventing hardware backdoors requires vetting suppliers, okay, performing hardware audits, and using trusted manufacturing channels. Here are some of the popular examples and our popular recommended solutions. Now, then we have also our third-party data breaches characteristics. Now, these breaches occur when an external vendor or service provider is hacked. Okay? As a result, a sensitive customer or business information can be exposed, even if the organization itself has strong security measures. Now, because many organizations rely on the same vendors, a single breach can affect multiple organizations simultaneously, okay, amplifying the possible impact. Now, mitigation strategies will include vendor risk assessments, security audits, and ensuring that third parties follow robust security practices. Here are some of the popular examples of this data breach and our possible recommended solution. Next, we have the cryptographic attacks. There are three uh, types in this type of attack. Okay, wherein these attacks aim to break or exploit weaknesses in encryption and authentication mechanisms to gain unauthorized access to systems or data. Uh, One common type is the brute force attack, okay, where an attacker tries all possible password combinations, okay, until the correct one is found. Then another one is the dictionary attack, which relies on a common words, okay, phrases, or previously leaked passwords to quickly guess user credentials. Then there are your rainbow table attacks, okay, where attackers use pre-computed hash values to crack encrypted passwords, okay, or bypassing the need to try every possibility individually. Now, protecting against these attacks requires strong, complex password, salted hashing, and the multi-factor authentication to make it much harder for attackers to succeed. Now, a brute force attack works by, please, we have mentioned, by trying all possible passwords until a correct one is found or discovered. Now, these attacks require significant computational power and time, especially for long or complex passwords. However, their effectiveness can be greatly reduced, okay, by using strong, complex passwords, okay, implementing rate limiting mechanisms, and adding multi-factor authentication. Okay, this is why password strength and proper access controls are essential defenses against brute force attempts. Here are popular examples of the brute force attack and the recommended solutions. They are shown in your screen. We have dictionary attacks. Okay, unlike the brute force attacks, dictionary attacks use a precompiled list of common passwords, words, and phrases instead of trying every possible combinations. Okay, because they focus likely on likely passwords. Okay, dictionary attacks are often faster and more efficient than your brute force attacks. However, they are ineffective. Okay, ineffective against strong passwords that are complex or not included in the dictionaries. To defend against these attacks, it's important to use unique and predictable passwords and consider multi-factor authentication to add an extra layer of security. Here are some of the popular examples of uh, the dictionary attacks, okay, and the recommended solutions. Okay, they are uh, use paraphrase instead of simple passwords, enable account lockouts, use salted hashing for password storage. Then we have these rainbow table attacks. Okay, these attacks use a pre-computed hash values to quickly match and crack password hashes. Okay, this make them or making them much faster than brute or dictionary attacks or brute force. Okay, especially against weakly protected passwords. Now, however, rainbow table attacks are effective against salted passwords. Salting adds, okay, or salting will adds a random data to each password before hashing, which renders a pre-computed hash tables useless. Now, this highlights the importance of sorting and hashing passwords properly as part of a strong security strategy. Here are some of the popular examples, okay, and our possible recommended solutions. Okay, please see your screen so at least you can check these popular or recommended solutions. Now we have threat actors. Who are these threat actor? A threat actor, or also called a bad actor or malicious actor, okay, is any individual, group, or an entity, okay, that is responsible for carrying out or at least attempting a cyber attack, security breach, or other malicious activity. Now, threat actors can target organizations, systems, or individuals, and their motivations vary widely from financial gain to espionage or political objectives. Okay, understanding who threat actors are and how they operate is crucial for developing effective cybersecurity defenses and risk mitigation strategies. So we have here an insider. Okay, insider includes employees, contractors, or partners who have authorized access to an organization systems. They are often the most dangerous type of threat actor because they are familiar with the systems and are trusted by the organization. Their motivations can vary, including revenge, financial profit, negligence, or coercion. For example, an IT administrator might uh, delete critical production data before leaving the company, okay, causing major disruptions. To mitigate, to mitigate these insider threats, organizations can implement a role-based access control. which continuous activity monitoring and regular security audits. We have also hacktivists. Okay, hacktivists are threat actors who pursue ideological or political goals, often using cyber attacks as a form of protest or to promote a cause. Common tactics include website defacement, leaking sensitive information, or launching of DDoS attacks to disrupt services. Now, a well-known example is anonymous defacing government uh, websites to protest certain policies. Okay. Now, their motivations usually revolve around publicity, protest, or driving social or political reform. To mitigate threats from activists, organizations can implement web application firewalls, okay, continuous content monitoring, and clear media engagement policies. We have the cyber criminals. Cyber criminals are threat actors driven primarily by profit. Okay, they can be individual hackers or organized crime groups, okay, which target system for financial gain. Now, the common tactics include ransomware, okay, banking trojans, okay, carding schemes, okay, to steal payment information. Now, for example, the group Magicard, okay, Magicard injecting card schemers um, into an e-commerce sites, okay, compromising thousands of online transactions. Now, mitigation strategies could include implementing threat intelligence, okay, fraud detection systems, and increasing user awareness to prevent falling victim to these attacks. Now, nation-state actors. These are highly skilled and well funded groups sponsored or supported by the government, okay, pursuing geopolitical or strategic objectives. Common tactics, the common tactics include cyber espionage, sabotage, and spreading disinformation to at least influence or disrupt target nations or organizations. A notable example is Stuxnet, which targeted Iranian centrifuge to disrupt nuclear operations. Okay? You have nation-state actors. Okay? These nation-state actors are characterized by their persistence, stealth. Okay? Ano tong stealthy or stealth? It means that they are done in secretive, hidden, or uh, sneaky way to at least avoid notice or being detected. Okay? So, ano pa, it's a long-term campaign, making them very difficult to detect and defend against. Next, you have your mitigation. What are the mitigation strategies? This include advanced endpoint detection, network segmentation, leveraging cyber diplomacy to manage risk. We also have script kiddies. Okay. Um, Script kiddies are unskilled or inexperienced users who rely on pre-built hacking tools with little understanding of how they work. Okay. Their common tactics include basic DDoS attacks and website defacement. For example, a teenager using LOIC to attack gaming servers is a typical case of script kiddie activity. Now, what is LOIC? It's a low orbit ion cannon. It's an open source network stress testing and denial of service attack tool. Okay. This was originally created to help developers developers test the resilience of their servers against high traffic. Now it became widely known because activist group like Anonymous used it to launch distributed denial of service attacks on government and corporate websites. Now, script kiddies are unskilled or inexperienced users. They just rely on pre-built nga na hacking tools. Okay? So, again, putting an emphasis on that one. So, uh, that they have a little understanding, okay, of how they work. Although they lack advanced skills, they can still cause disruption. Okay? Mitigation strategies can include firewall filtering, IP blocking, and comprehensive logging. Okay? Then, lastly, you have your industrial spies. These are threat actors who engage in corporate espionage to steal trade secrets or competitive intelligence. Common tactics that they do that includes malware deployment, social engineering, and bribing insiders to gain access to confidential information. For example, an attacker might infiltrate an R&D department to steal product designs for competitive advantage. Some mitigation strategies will involve implementing data loss prevention or DLP, okay, enforcing non-disclosure agreements, and conducting surveillance and monitoring of sensitive areas. Okay, so that ends our discussion on the uh, different types of threats and attacks. Okay, so thank you, and please uh, go over on a certain slide and check if what you will be or what you will be doing on that certain slide. Thank you.